What's going on, everybody? It is Hunter here and Jake, and we're back with BoogiePod episode 55. First off, right off the bat, baby, guess what came out, Jake, this past week?
What?
A clip. Aren't you proud of me?
Oh, clip.
I posted a clip. Posted a clip. Colts are failures. Go check it out. And I only got one off because it was Christmas time. But more on the way. I'm thinking 2 this week. Probably 2. And then no gaming video, but we'll see how that goes. But Jake, how was your week? How was your Christmas?
Good week. Good Christmas. Good Christmas.
Good.
It's good.
It's good to hear. We got a lot of football things to talk about this week, but nothing UFC related. Besides that, nothing MLB related just yet. When we get into the offseason of football, we'll really start tackling MLB then. But we got a lot of NFL stuff to talk about, a lot of college football stuff to talk about, especially with the playoffs being Saturday. So let's dive right into that same topic, the playoffs, Jake. They're here. It's time to make our official predictions to lock them in. We'll start off with the let's start off with the game that's first, which is the Peach Bowl. That's going to be Michigan versus TCU. Jake, who do you got?
You got Michigan. I think TCU is solid, but I don't think they're one of those teams that's prone to get blown out in the playoffs. I don't know. I think it'll be a close game for a little while, but I think Michigan just pulls away late.
Yeah. I agree with you. Michigan got lucky that the playoff committee really cares about rematches and stuff in the playoffs. Because if not, Ohio State definitely deserves to be in that 3 slot for me. And I think it's absurd that TCU lost and didn't drop any. That's weird. That never happens. You at least have to drop a spot if you lose. But so Michigan, I think, got the luckier out of the. I'd rather play TCU than Ohio State, and I'll also be taking Michigan in this game. I'm going to take them around 10. I think TCU comes out, punches them in the mouth, but besides that, I think Michigan will take care, run the ball. They'll take care of business. All right, let's move on to the Fiesta Bowl, which is Georgia versus Ohio State. Jake, who do you got in this?
I want to take Ohio State so bad, but I cannot. I got to go Georgia. I do think it'll be a good game, though. I think it'll be a great game for the playoff right before they're expanding soon. And then I think Ohio State's locker room is a big question mark. That's why I can't do it. This will be a big test for Ryan Day to see if he can pull the team back together and make it at least if it's even close. That's a huge dub, I think, for that locker room because Georgia's very good.
Yeah,
and their Super Bowl regular season's obviously Michigan, and when you get blown out at home, not very good.
That's true.
But so we'll see. I got Georgia.
All right. I've been hitting Georgia ever since the playoffs got announced. I've told everyone that I know personally about what I think about this game, and I'm going with the Buckeyes by around 17 points. I think it's going to get rough in the fourth quarter. I think Georgia's going to have no answer for the passing of Ohio State. I think C.J. Stroud's going to have a great game. And I think the passing will open up the run game. I think the offense is going to be virtually unstoppable for Georgia to stop in this game. And I think Georgia will keep it close at halftime. They might be in the lead at halftime. But I think later on, it gets bad. Ryan Day's had so much time to prep, heard all the noise. Ohio State's heard all the noise. And Georgia just sitting there. That's all they've done. They've just sat there. They have the worst quarterback in this game. They have the worst wide receivers in this game. They have the worst running back in this game. They have the worst offensive line in this game. All they have is better defense. So it's offense versus defense. And they do have the better coach. But I think this is just a matter of Georgia won it last year. I think this is going to mean more to Ohio State. Especially. Now, if Ohio State goes out here and they get blown out, Ryan Day probably should be talked about a little bit more hardly. Then he should be, if Ohio State goes in this game and gets blown out by Georgia, he should be getting talked about how he is right now. That's the way I look at it. But, that's what I get. So you have Georgia and Michigan in the championship. Who do you got?
I've got Georgia again. I think their defense is still too good. I think they'll take away Michigan's passing game at all, which is already not great. They shut it off against Ohio State pretty well. It was kind of like a backup plan because obviously they want to run the ball. And I don't think Blake Corum's playing. Is he? I don't really care actually if he's playing or not. I still have Georgia regardless. But I think they have the defensive line to shut down Michigan's running game and make them throw the ball. And I think J.J. McCarthy throws a pick or two. That's the game.
Okay. So I got Ohio State and Michigan in the championship. And I'm going to go with the Buckeyes to win it all in the greatest national championship game of all time that we've had so far. It'll be epic. The build-up for that game would be awesome. And Yeah, if there's any way college football could rig it to be this way, I'd like for them to rig it to be this way too, because I want to see this. And I'll take Ohio State by 7. Hard to beat a team twice. I think it'll definitely be close regardless. And man, the trash talk, I would just love to see that game. That'd be awesome.
It'd be great. That's my ideal outcome as well. I'd like to see that more.
Yeah, if that's not the whatever, I don't care who wins it. I just don't want Georgia to win it. I don't want back-to-back Georgia titles. I'd rather any of those 3 other teams win it besides Georgia. So, all right, let's move on. So we got the Orange Bowl coming up, and we're not going to give a prediction on this game because you like Tennessee and I like Clemson, so we're not going to put ourselves in that situation to jinx our team. But give me your breakdown on how, if Tennessee was to win this game, what do they need to do? And I'll do the same for Clemson.
What they need to do is they need to figure out a way to run the ball against Clemson. I know Clemson has a couple of their best defensive linemen going on the portal, not the portal, the draft, and I think they need to try to expose those holes there and run the ball because I don't have a lot of confidence in Joe Milton to air the ball out deep to our backup receivers who are because our quarterback's hurt, Tennessee's quarterback's hurt, and the wide receivers are going to the draft, so they need to back up wide receivers to step up. But I think running the ball is the key.
Okay. For
Tennessee to win.
All right, so my key for Clemson to win is early on get Cade Klubnik comfortable. He doesn't need to be third and long. He doesn't. This is his first game he's ever starting at the college level. Dude needs to be calm early. I mean, what a crazy way! Your first game you're ever going to start is going to be against Tennessee in the Orange Bowl. That's eye opening. Especially that's probably outside the playoffs. That's the most popular and biggest bowl game there is right now. Not the Orange Bowl necessarily, but just the Tennessee Clemson game. He needs to get comfortable early on, some short throws, open up the run game. If we can run it nice, that would help him out a lot. So, run game, obviously. And then on the defensive side, it's just, you got wide receivers out in Tennessee, so don't let these new guys beat you. Don't let these new guys beat you. And shut down the run, I would say that. Make Joe Milton throw the ball, and you got to shut down these receivers. Because even though I get your 2 out, the squirrel guy, he's quick. He'll burn you if you don't have respect for him. Brew McCoy, he's good if you don't have respect for him. These guys are good, and you can't just go out there thinking, hey, their receivers are out. We're just going to load the box and go one-on-one on these guys. You can't do that all night. So don't get in a shootout with this Tennessee team, and don't let Joe Milton turn into God. And that's the keys to the game right there. So. All right, so let's move on to the Sugar Bowl, which is played on this Saturday. It'll be the noon game because Georgia and Ohio State is the night game, and then Michigan TCU is the 4:00 game. Ugh. So, who you got? Alabama versus Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl.
I think Kansas State's a good pick, but I got to go Alabama. I'm going the safe pick. I think they'll just get it done. The Bryce Young and Will Anderson playing in this game says a lot. They really they have no reason to play. I think that says a lot for the locker room. And they're wanting to prove a point in their last game to Nick Saban, so I think they'll get it done.
Yeah, I agree. The fact that he was able to get those two, Will Anderson and Bryce Young, to come back, incredible. And I think there's no way they come back just to lose. I don't believe it. No. So, Alabama will win, in my opinion. Okay, let's go to the Cotton Bowl, which is a sneaky, cool little matchup here. Number 16, Tulane, versus number 10, USC. You got in this one, Jake?
Is Caleb Williams playing? Actually, it doesn't really matter. I think USC will win anyways, but yeah, it's a cool matchup, I guess. Yeah. I just got USC. I don't really know what to say about Tulane.
Yeah, yeah. I got USC. I think they'll win. Caleb Williams is playing, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I know, he's playing. But I would love to see Tulane win this game, and they're gonna be the more motivated team. That's for sure. That's one thing they will have over USC. They will be more motivated to win this game because USC was in the playoffs like a month ago, less than a month ago, and now they're not. So how does that affect them? Can they get up for a team like Tulane? If they overlook them, Tulane will beat them. That's what I'm saying. But I will pick USC. I don't think they'll overlook them. I think Lincoln Riley will get his team ready. And, yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. So let's move on to the Rose Bowl, which is Penn State, number 11 Penn State, versus number 8 Utah. Who you got in this game?
Oh. I'm going to go Utah, I think. I think they're a better overall team this year. They're both really solid teams in their conferences. They're both kind of like the one down from the top tier, Utah's had some really great wins this year, like USC win. It's really nice. So I think they get Penn State.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Penn State here in this game. Mainly for the fact of this team's only lost to Michigan and Ohio State, 2 teams in the playoffs. Everyone else has forgot about them. They've had some very impressive wins outside of those 2 wins. A couple in the Big Ten. They even went on the road and beat an SEC school on the road in Auburn, and they kind of blew them out. That's why I like that win a lot. So I'm gonna go Penn State here to have a sneaky good year, one of their better years they've ever had, really, if they can win this game. So, yeah, so that's all for the New Year's 6 bowls. I think that's all of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 6. Okay, making sure. I was making sure of that. All right, so let's move on. Sam Hartman is set to transfer from Wake Forest. He is now. With this, we kind of all knew this was coming. It was rumored and all that stuff, but now it's official. He's in the transfer portal as we talk. Jake, where does Sam Hartman end up at?
Would say Florida, but I'm going to go Notre Dame. I think it's a better spot for him, much better coaching staff, much better program right now, I would say.
Yeah.
Notre Dame had a bounce back. I mean, they had a couple rough losses, but beating Clemson was a nice little way to end the year. I think they're on the right track. I think they just need a quarterback to be a better team overall, and I think they'll go there.
Yeah, I think they end up finishing the year ranked 12th or 13th or something like that.
Yeah, they bounced back.
15. They had a very good year. It turned out to be, especially with the hard start that they had. But I also agree. I think he'll end up at Notre Dame. It's a great fit for him. And another reason why I don't think he'll go to Florida, which was the early lead for him, was because they just got Graham Mertz, the dude from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So they got their quarterback there. I think Sam Hartman ends up at Notre Dame. If not, I don't really see a spot for him to go. Not off the top of my head, at least. So Notre Dame for sure. Hudson Carr committed to Purdue out of the transfer portal. That's another one. Backup quarterback for Texas. He's going to be the 3rd string if he would have stayed at Texas next year. So he's gone, and what a great place to go for him than Purdue. They're Aiden O'Connell is that his name. He's hitting the draft, so he's going to the draft, and they're going to need a quarterback. Hudson Carr's there, former 4-star, I think, and he showed some promises at Texas when he did have to play when Quinn Edwards was out or etc. So what do you think about this move by Hudson Carr?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect move for him. I mean, I never thought of Purdue as a transfer spot, but obvious hole at quarterback, so just go fill it because Hudson Card is pretty solid. So he'll be good for him, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's move on to the NFL. We have our Power 5 rankings is what we'll start off with here. Jake, you got any honorable mentions?
My honorable mention is the Bengals.
Huh?
They keep bouncing in and out, but they really kind of deserve to be in there a little bit. It's just kind of a jammed top 5 right now, so they're easily
close.
5B. Yeah.
I agree with you. My honorable mention is the Bengals, and I completely agree with you. It's all jam-packed up there. 1 to 5 isn't really that big of a difference. So, yeah. So go ahead with your 5.
My 5 is the Cowboys, and I was going to put the Bengals here, but we happened to beat them with Cooper Rush, so I got to put them in there. They're a very banged-up team. They are very hurt on defense side of the ball. It's really bad. They got to get people back, or they have no chance of a playoff run this year. And good win over the Eagles, though, but it was more of a Dak Prescott thing than a Cowboys thing because Dak kind of carried a little bit. But they're top 5.
Yeah, great for Dak, by the way, because people are starting to get a little out of hand with him. I'm glad he shut some people up. Number 5, I have the Chiefs. I've had the Chiefs low for most of the year. I still see holes. They still scare me. They played? They actually had a good win against Seahawks this past week. They had a pretty decent win. But yeah, I still got them 5. I hate the Seahawks team. Super overrated because Geno's eventually going to come back to normal Geno. So, which he's kind of already showed that as of recent. But yeah, Chiefs 5.
Okay, my 4 is the Eagles. The Eagles, they are also having some injury issues. They had a couple. Well, Lane Johnson went down against Dallas. He's whenever he don't play, they don't win. He needs to get healthy for him. Minshew came in there, looked pretty solid. He made some pretty good throws, a couple unlucky picks. But I think their system's set up so well, I don't really care. I mean, Hurts is better than Minshew. I ain't going to say that, but I think they're fine if Minshew had to play the next couple of games. I think they could still win because he's pretty solid for a backup. But roster, Eagles are very great roster. So as long as they get healthy, they're fine.
Yeah. JS said I'm fine with being I assume watching and chatting. That's the first time in a while. You haven't been with us. All right, at 4, I have the Cowboys. Got the Cowboys at 4. Very impressive win against the Eagles this past weekend. And if you want to sit there and say, well, they beat Gardner Minshew's backup quarterback, Eagles did the exact same thing to the Cowboys. So I don't know what you're talking about. Both teams beat their backup quarterbacks. Both teams won at home. Both teams did the exact same thing, in my opinion. I think they're an 11-4 team. Is that right, Jake? 11-4.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a really impressive record. It's just that simple. And just because they have a star in that silver helmet doesn't mean they had to be lower than what they really are. So I got them 4. They got unlucky in the Jaguars game, if that's the one you want to point towards. But Jaguars are on a run now, so that's not even that bad of a loss anymore. So I mean, if you really think about it, Jaguars, unless they sell right here at the end of the year, knock on wood, which very possibly can, they lost a close game to an unlucky pick to a playoff team at their place that was fighting for their lives. They had to win that game practically. So that there's nothing wrong with that. So I got Cowboys at 4.
Okay, my 3 is the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is having a little turnover problem, and not all picks are created equal, but the ones I've seen are his fault. They are just some errant throws, not good. Got to take care of the ball, beat like the Chiefs or the Bengals in the playoffs. And I'm really excited for the Bills because they're about to play the Bengals. It's going to be a big shakeup whoever wins that game in the power ratings here. But it's a great game. That's a playoff rematch in the waiting, I'd say. But they're still a great roster. They do have some holes. Running game is not great. Some pieces on defense aren't there, like Von Miller. Him getting hurt is really hurting their chances. If he was still there, I'd probably have him at number 1, but he's not. So they're 3.
Okay. At 3, I have the Eagles. Got the Eagles at 3. I still think this roster is absolutely loaded. They are starting to have some injury issues on defense. And at quarterback, obviously, Jalen Hurts should most likely be back this week, and I hope he's not for fantasy-wise. But he most likely will be. And they are getting banged up a little bit, which is the worst time to get banged up at. But healthy, this team's probably 1 and 2, but right now I'd have them
3. My 2 is the Chiefs, mainly because Patrick Mahomes is on the team, and Travis Kelce. Their defense is, I think, they're young defense, but I think they're solid enough to maybe help Mahomes enough to get some playoff wins, maybe make the Super Bowl this year. But it's going to be a battle between them, Bills, and the Bengals. That is crazy.
Yeah.
3 teams right there in one conference. But Patrick Mahomes, that's all I got to say. Yep. They're obviously 2 for me.
All right, at 2, I got the 49ers. This team really high. Lineup's absolutely loaded, stacked. You want to talk about system quarterbacks? 49ers, anyone can go there and be good.
Yeah.
Me and you could go there and throw for 200 yards. I mean, it is crazy. They are loaded. Kyle Shanahan's an absolute genius. I couldn't imagine if he gets an Aaron Rodgers or a Brady next year. I couldn't imagine. I think he would actually, personal opinion, and this is not just I think Brady is like the perfect quarterback for that system. Perfect.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he can, if it can set up perfectly for him, he'll execute it. He'll do that. And I think, Tom Brady wants to go chase a ring, that's where he needs to go. But besides the point, that's just to show you how good they are. And that's why I have them too.
Yeah, that's my prediction of the year, is that Tom Brady's a 49er next year. Sadly for everybody else, he's going to win another ring with the Niners. But my 1 is also the 49ers. I think all they got to do to win the Super Bowl this year is not turn the ball over. I think if Brock Purdy plays complimentary football and keeps the ball away from the defense, they will win the Super Bowl this year. That's all they got to do. It's very easy. The defense is so good. They got too many weapons. All you got to do is not turn the ball over and you'll win it.
It's true, but I just can't. I don't think I can pick Brock Purdy to win the Super Bowl.
I think power ranking, they are the best team, but playoff time, it's different.
Yeah.
Just because I have 1 doesn't mean I think they're going to necessarily win the Super Bowl. Because that'll be a different prediction. But right now, they are the best. I think they'd beat anybody in a regular season game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right. At 1, I have the Bills. Got the Bills at 1 still. Josh Allen is having big issues. But something that impressed me a lot about their win over the
Bears.
Bears, that's right. Bears. Something that impressed me over the win of the Bears was they were down. 1, they were able to show heart come back, which is fine. I expect that out of them anyways. But second thing was the Bills team stepped up around Josh Allen. That's what I want to see, because if that team can become a roster like the Eagles or the 49ers, they're going to win. But hands down, they're going to win Super Bowl. So that would very impress me and allowed me to get them. Was the roster stepped up around Josh Allen? So yeah, got Bills at 1. All right, so let's move on. So Thursday night football is going to be Dallas at Tennessee. Who you got in this game, Jake?
We go Dallas. I
Yeah.
think mainly for the reason the Titans, this game is kind of meaningless for both teams. Dallas, it's potentially meaningful if Hurts doesn't play and they lose to the Saints. Then there's a real opportunity to win the division.
Yeah.
But really, it's not important for the Titans because the only game that matters is at Jaguars next week. And I think there's a really good chance they don't play Derrick Henry, which I think strength to strength, Dallas would still win.
Yeah.
But it's going to be way easier on Dallas. I'd be kind of shocked if this game's kind of close. It could be a steamroll, especially if Henry don't play. That's all they got.
Yeah.
So if Henry sits, it's over. I got Dallas.
Yeah. I agree. I think Dallas is going to kill them. I don't really see how this game's going to be close, especially if they don't play Derrick Henry. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. The only reason this game is meaningful is, well, this game's really not meaningful. On the Jaguars side, I know this for a fact just because I follow the Jaguars very close, is if the Jaguars beat the Texans and the Titans lose to the Cowboys, then if the Jaguars and the Titans were to tie at the end of the year, the Jaguars would get the nod. But if the Titans were to beat Dallas and the Jaguars were to lose to Houston, Titans would get the nod. And then I think if they both win, I don't know. But so I know that's the only way the game's any meaningful is for a tiebreaker. And here's an interesting fact. Speaking of that, I know we're going off a little bit of my prediction, but just a little golden egg for you. Jaguars have never tied, I believe.
Wow.
In history. I don't think they've ever tied. You can fact check me on that because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I heard that in the podcast today. I was like, huh. So, whoever that guy was who said that, he could have been wrong. But I thought that's pretty crazy. So, but yeah, I'm rolling with the Cowboys as well. So let's move on. Sunday Night Football is Steelers at Ravens. Who you got in that game?
I'm going to go Steelers. I think that's an upset pick. I think there's something in the world that will not let Mike Tomlin get a below 500 season, and I think they might win out and get above 500. I think they might do it. Okay. There's something about Mike Tomlin. He will not go below 500. Kenny Pickett had a great game-winning drive, actually. First one ever, I believe. Yeah. That's a good sign. Kenny Pickett's looking pretty good. Him and George Pickens might be the real deal in a couple of years. So, yeah, I think the Ravens are they're floundering right now going into playoff time. They've clinched it. I think they're going to chill. So, I'll go Steelers.
Okay, I'm going to go Ravens, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't think they will chill. Because if they chill, and they're only one game up in their 5 slot, if they go below that 5 slot, they got to play Bengals or Chiefs right now. Everyone's fighting for that 5 spot because you get to play the Jaguars or the Titans. Now, as a Jaguars fan, not to pee off any Ravens people, but I hope the Ravens win out and they get that little slot right there because I love to play the Ravens because I don't want to play the Chargers or if I had to pick the poison to drink, I want to drink the Ravens. I don't want to drink any of the other poisons out there like Chargers or Dolphins or something like that. Two is make me want to pick Dolphins.
You guys beat the Dolphins. Jaguars beat Dolphins right now. Maybe.
Yeah, Tua's. We'll get to it here in a minute, but yeah, I got the I'm going Ravens. So, all right, Monday Night Football. It's Bills at Bengals. Jake, who you got?
That's a potential game of the year right there. I'm gonna go. Oh man, I'm gonna go Bengals because I just think the narrative whenever Joe Burrow wins this game is gonna get really funny because he's a top 4 quarterback, but there's always a lot of people that try to put him over Allen and Mahomes, which he's not. But I think the Bengals got it at home. That's gonna be a great game.
Yeah. All right, I'm going Bills. I think they're gonna win it. I think they're gonna win. They're gonna try to get that 2 seed, instead of having to get that 3. And also something I want to talk about the Bengals real quick. The Joe Burrow has really earned my respect this year. Yeah. He's played lights out, and especially whenever it matters, he comes alive too. That's something that a lot of quarterbacks can't say. So a lot of respect to Joe Burrow because last year I thought it was kind of fluky, and it was for the most part. That team was not supposed to be a Super Bowl. It was fluky, but Joe Burrow's that guy, and so is the receivers around him as well. T. Higgins is a great two, and Jamar Chase is obviously like one of the best wide receivers in the league. So just great there. But yeah, I'm going Bills though. Going Bills. All right, J.J. Watt has officially retired. What is your reaction to this, Jake?
It's about time. He's stuck around a little longer than he needed to be, but at his peak, he's like debatably the best defensive player ever. At his peak, career-wise, he's not, but he's one of the best. He's still a Hall of Fame regardless of what you say about him. He is With the Texans, he was the best defensive. He had a case for an MVP at one point, and he was that good.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see him go, but it's about time. Got to stay healthy for long term.
Yeah, it is very sad. You look back at that Houston team with him on it, DeAndre Hopkins on it, Deshaun Watson on it. It's just like, was Brandon Cooks on that team too at the time?
No, he was with like the Saints, the Patriots, or somebody at that time, I think.
Okay, but either way,
that
team was absolutely loaded. They won a couple playoff games. But yeah, that's a good team to look back on. And yeah, like you said, JJ Watt, easily Hall of Famer, one of the best defensive players ever. And just thought we'd mention him here, so probably worth it. But Nathaniel Hackett fired. I'm pretty shocked, to be honest with you. I'm a little shocked. Thought they'd wait to the end of the year. But man, I talk about a dude get carried. Aaron Rodgers carried that mug big time. And man, I don't know. You know, and I know we've talked about the Jaguars a little bit because I'm a Jaguars fan. But I mentioned Jaguars when I remember him being brung up, and the dude who's what's his name for the Bucks now, coach of the Bucks.
Oh man, is it Eric Bieniemy or is that the Chiefs guy?
No, not him. It's like Luckwich or something.
Oh, Brian, no.
But either way, Bucks head coach now.
Yeah.
And what's his face? Nathaniel Hackett was the two that all the Jaguars fans wanted over Doug Peterson once we got Doug Peterson. And they were, especially the Luckwich guy, or if that's how you even say his last name or whatever. But and I'm just thankful. Very thankful we got Doug Peterson. Because it could have been really bad. And feel bad for Broncos fans out there. But pretty shocked he was fired. They didn't wait to the end of the year, but well deserved. He needs to be fired. That roster, I don't know. You gotta go hit Kyle Shanahan's. Or not Kyle Shanahan.
One of my personal takes about the situation. I think he's like the worst head coach ever, possibly. I really don't know the history of bad coaches. I know there's a lot that are probably like worse record wise, but then none of those guys had that roster. Like I know that Russell Wilson could be washed. He's probably not as good as he was with the Seahawks. But they're not like 4 wins bad. With that kind of defense, dude, they give up like no. Besides this Rams game, you could tell they don't care no more. Yeah. It's over. That whole locker room's defeated. They might as well not even show up no more this year. But prime of the season this year, they were like the best top 2 defense in the league, top 3, and they still couldn't win. That's how bad. And Nathaniel Hackett's the offensive guru type. Yeah. So that's like looks really bad. If he was a defensive head coach, I would say okay, you just need a new offensive coordinator. Maybe there's issues at other places like offensive line. But no, I think with that roster and what he had, I think he's probably the worst head coach I've seen in my lifetime. I think he's worse than Urban Meyer because Urban Meyer lost that locker room based off like kicking players and stuff and like stupid things. Daniel Hackett lost because he's absolutely terrible, like as a coach. I think he lost everything with that role. I just don't get it. I think he's probably not worse than Urban Meyer. That might be a little extreme, but I think they're same tier. Definitely same tier in my eyes. Both completely terrible hires. But
imagine if the Broncos would have got Doug Peterson. It'd been like...
Yeah, it looked a little better.
Yeah.
You know,
that'd been crazy.
Maybe a wild card team. Maybe a wild card team.
So, yeah, they just hired the wrong guy. That is what it is, and they realized it, and they fired him. So, what I meant to say earlier was not Kyle Shanahan. They need to go get Sean Payton. That would be...
I don't know if I would take that job. I would take the Broncos job.
I'm not saying Sean Payton should take it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
they got to get somebody, someone not a coordinator, someone who's been a head coach before. I think that'd be the smarter route to go to. All right, so Tua is back in concussion protocol. Tua's having a lot of issues right now. He's turning the ball over. He's not been consistent at quarterback. He's been just flat honest bad. And you can't be bad when you have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill running routes that you're throwing to. Yeah. You just can't be bad. And he has lost it. He's fell apart. He's hurt again. And you could argue that concussion probably had a lot to do with why he played bad. I'm sure it did. But it's just at this point, man, what do you do with Tua right now? He's going to be in the protocol. He's probably going to miss this next coming up game. You shut him down?
I don't know if I'd shut him down. I mean, I would listen to what the doctors say. And you need guys that are not biased towards the team. You got to have guys that are really looking out for Tua's health. You know, you don't need team doctors that have a little thing like he needs to play. You got to play him, to clear him. You know, I do worry about him because I think there's a lot of players that have to retire because of concussions and him being back in it again. Because the one he got before was really bad.
Yeah,
Like I think that would take an off season to heal up, like to really get back to near normal brain health. Not a doctor, but I would just assume, like logically, that was bad.
Yeah,
I mean, we watched that live, and it was scary stuff.
It made you feel weird because they kept showing it.
You felt kind of funny the rest of the yeah, obviously. Amazon Prime, bunch of idiots. Show the hands on the whole rest of the game. So, dude, it's okay.
Yeah.
He's fine.
We got it.
Hopefully.
He's
But,
not practically dead.
We got it. He got hurt really bad. You gotta watch him, monitor him really closely. If he goes down hard again, because I saw the video of what probably caused his concussion. It's the same kind of like hit the back of the head on the turf deal.
Yeah.
Like if you see that again, you got to yoink him because they're probably not going to make the playoffs now, anyways. Because they need to win out. I mean, they're not in a spot where they could coast anymore.
Yeah,
they fell apart late in the year. Defense fell apart too. Just everybody besides TUA, besides Waddle and Hill.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what you do. It's a hard call. Yeah. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I hate it for TUA too because he was having a good year, but he's just flat. Awful.
Yeah.
All right. Justin Herbert clinched his first playoff. Good for Justin Herbert. Is this the start of something here with the Chargers, Jake? So what I mean by that is, are we going to have Justin Herbert in the playoffs the next 5 years? Or is this just like a one thing and they're done? Not necessarily win the playoffs, either. But just make it.
I think they're going to start making the playoffs every year from here on out. But it's not going to be with the head coach and their offensive coordinator they have right now. I think it would take a lot for them to still not fire him after this year's up. I think the stuff they've done with offensive coordinator is atrocious. Like it's something you just can't let go. Mm-hmm. It's that bad. Or the head coach, maybe I'll let it go. Offensive coordinator, he's that bad. I think if Herbert somehow wills them to a playoff win, I would still fire him. I'd not fire him no matter what happens. I think he's that bad. And if they won the Super Bowl and it was a great play con, I'd probably keep him. Then you got to keep him. But if they make like a divisional round game and they just suck and lose, I'd fire him in a heartbeat. I'd fire the head coach too. Because I think Sean Payton is, he's getting the staff ready. And there's a lot of guys on the Chargers staff I'd get rid of. I don't know about their defensive coordinator. Their defense is so banged up. They're not playing great either. They played good against the Colts, but not the Colts. I would go after Sean Payton because he's already in California.
Yeah,
just go get him. He's a TV guy now. He wants to come back. You got a team that's ready to win now, so you have to trade picks for him because he's not out of a contract yet, I think. So I would go get Sean Payton. You get that staff, you probably win a Super Bowl or get close.
Yeah,
I'd get rid of the coach no matter what. So I think they're going to be playoff locks with a new head coach.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. If they don't make the playoffs every year from here out for a couple years, it's going to be because of the coaching. I would agree with that. Unless they have defensive issues down the road or something like that. But, yeah, I think this is probably a regular thing you'll see. And if you're the Chargers, you got to win out and bait the Ravens lose a game here or there. You definitely want to play the Jaguars. You do not want to play the Bills or the Bengals or the Chiefs. Okay, so let's move on. College basketball. We got 2 ranked games we got to predict here. Number 8, Alabama at number 21. Is that Mississippi State that I put down here? Hold on. Gotta read my dang handwriting. Yeah, it's Mississippi State. All right, number 21, Mississippi State. Number 8, Alabama. It's at Mississippi State. Who you got?
Alabama.
Okay.
I think Alabama's got it.
All right, I'm going Mississippi State on the upset right here. I got this game 50-50, so I'll go opposite of you. All right, on Saturday, number 2, UConn at number 22 at Xavier. Who do you got?
UConn's number 2?
Yeah.
I'll go UConn. I'll take the away teams this time. I learned my lesson, but I keep going back on my rules. So I'll go UConn.
Yeah, I also got UConn on this. And then right off the bat here, if any of you guys got any sports questions to ask them now, because we're about to wrap up. So go ahead and ask away. But Jake, what is your question of the week?
Dude, every week we do this. I always tell myself I'm going to come up with a question beforehand, and I never do it. It's like you with the clips thing. I never do this. I never do it. And I always think about it, but I never do it. Huh. Question of the week.
Take your time. Cook up a good question. Let them cook.
Man. I don't know at all. Okay, we'll go hypothetical.
Okay. Those are the best questions anyway.
Okay, we'll just do this one. This is a really easy gimme question.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, he leaves the Packers. Where's he going? What's your prediction? I know where Brady's going, so I ain't gonna ask that one. That's obvious. He's a ring chaser. Where's Rodgers going?
Man, where's Rodgers go? Ugh. You know, it'd be a crazy mix. You would have talked about toxic place for him to go. The Jets. I'd love that fan base would just fall apart, man. They wouldn't know what to do.
He would talk back to that fan base.
I'd love to see that him at the Jets, but I don't know. I want to say Jets because I want to see that so bad. Let me keep thinking. Let's see who else needs a quarterback besides the ones that aren't gonna. I mean, you got Colts.
You could see the Ravens maybe need more if Lamar goes. Lamar might leave because he's not re-signed. You never know what happened with him.
You're going to need more than Tannehill to win the division next year for the Titans, most likely. So maybe
Probably.
Titans. Yeah, I don't know. Ravens. I don't know if he wants to go to another team with no weapon. He might as well stick. Yeah, I'll go Jets. I want to see the Jets. Yeah,
okay.
I think that'd be awesome.
Talk about a good division.
What about you? Where do you think he'll go?
My prediction was I had one last year. Last season, I thought he'd go to the Steelers. I thought that would have been the best thing ever if he went to the Steelers.
Yeah,
That would have been awesome. But he didn't. He's still with the freaking Green Bay Packers. And they double-crossed him and traded his best wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's just having a tragedy in his career. It's bad. I would say he would try to stay in the NFC. I think the AFC is so loaded. If he really wants a ring, I think he'll have to stay in the NFC. But it's not up to him, really, because, well, I guess it kind of is. He has to accept the trade on his end because they're playing no trade clause or something. But I would say I think there's a real chance if the Lions got enough back for it, or if the Packers got enough back for it, I think they would trade in division for the Lions if they got enough. Because you obviously don't want to trade a great quarterback in your own division, but he's so old. He's probably not competing anyways. Imagine the Lions' offense right now with Aaron Rodgers, because they're already a good offense without him. And I think if they keep drafting defense, they could be good. I think I'll go to the Lions. I would love to see that.
I'd love to see the Aaron Rodgers versus Green Bay. I'd love to see it. Gosh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Or you could rewrite history again, like with Brett Favre, and go to the Vikings. If Kirk Cousins has a bad playoff game, we just offload Kirk and trade into the Packers and swap quarterbacks. That's another end division that's unlikely. I'd love to see him on the Vikings. They'd be really good.
Yeah, they'd probably win something. Justin Jefferson he'd have like go to number stats. He'd be like best receiver.
Yeah, and the reason I don't think he's going to go to the Niners is because I think they just traded some picks for McCaffrey. I don't know how much left they have to give, for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And Brady's going to be a free agent, so there's no picks involved. Rodgers just not going to grab Brady.
Yeah.
I'd say Niners. I think Brady's a lot, or unless he retires. So I'll go Lions or Vikings. I think. I know individually, a lot of people would hate that idea, obviously, because you want to see your own quarterback go to a rival team, but. It's unlikely as well. I just think it'd be funny. Team.
It would be really funny. Yeah, so I agree. Jets and Lions would be the most toxic place to go.
Jets, I'd love to see. I think Jets are loaded almost. They're this close to being like over the top to be a Super Bowl.
And the press conferences and stuff. He'd be on the headlines every single day.
He already is.
They talk about oh man, it'd be awesome. I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers Jets. It'd either work out so well. Or it'd be awful. It'd be miserable. One of the two. So, I agree. That'll do it for this podcast. Got clips coming out the rest of the week. Podcast next week. Enjoy football games this weekend. We got playoffs. We got good bowl games. Enjoy yourselves this weekend. And we'll see you guys. Let me get my mouse.